So,
believe it or not,
today,
there are
on this bright and
shocking
beautiful day,
benefits.
let's wonder. So that's the very first video I've had on YouTube. Number one and number two, the second one as well. And believe it or not, there's actually huge differences between both viewerships. And why and what are the differences? Well, I'm going to check it out now. I'm going to check my video out and see how badly I did, because I was really bad. And you know what? If you don't watch this video is considered useless as well on YouTube. But I can definitely say myself quite honestly, the things that I feel I have improved on since I started off with YouTube. So here we go. Right, the first video that I looked at, you can see here just technically, like very physically, you've got the background, right? And we're looking at, firstly, obviously, the wonderful things I said, which was 10 things poor people do that rich people don't do. Right, fair enough. There's differences between how rich people do things and how poor people do things. But if you look at the background, there's a bit of a shadow over my left shoulder as you look at over the right shoulder. Now, is that a game changer? Well, I don't know, to be quite honest. At the time, I didn't think so. But certainly having watched a lot more YouTube videos myself in the meantime, I don't relatively see that particular shadow over like many people's shoulders. I mean, over many people's shoulders on YouTube, that is. So if it's perhaps looking at me, if I'm seeing it and I'm noticing it now after watching all those videos, maybe it's distracting all you guys, people that are well attuned to watching videos. And you don't want to see shadows, you don't want to see kind of movement. But also, I think the light is a little bit off. So, I mean, there's all these different things, of course, like if you're a fantastic person, like I'm sure you are, with regard to recording and editing and so on, you'll notice these things too. So that's the first technical thing I saw. The second one that I saw is, well, I'm just a little bit uncomfortable. And to be quite honest, if I'm being very honest, I wasn't uncomfortable. I didn't feel uncomfortable in that first video, but I certainly felt aware of this camera and aware of trying to do everything at the right moment, at the right time, for the moment, the timing, what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. And in thinking all of that, I think there's too much going on up above. And so I needed to kind of just be natural, because at the end of it all, you can always press stop, delete, and record again. And that's perhaps what I should have done for this. However, it did get 2,500 views or so. And so with that in mind, that was a good start, I thought. So it was only a matter of looking and trying to improve after that. So then we look at the initial sightings, that is, of the second video. And I did this outside, so there's a huge difference in the background here and again in the lighting. So again, you're wondering, well, indoors v outdoors, which is better, which is best? And so I didn't realize which and how it was going to, well, be viewed. You don't know until you put something out there, really. But the second one just completely flunked. It went from 2,500-ish to 0 inside a couple of years. So the funny thing is, there's better light in the second one. There's no shadow because you're outdoors. In fact, it was a lovely sunny day, and I just couldn't figure it out. So perhaps it's the background then, I thought. The background here is just being outside, beautiful trees, beautiful greenery. There's an awful cable, as you can see in the background, and it's like perhaps really off-putting. And if you look at the size of the screen, it's like 50% of the screen is full of this cable, this coming from the top left-hand corner down to the bottom right-hand side over my shoulder. But also, I am up against a kind of a pillar, and with that pillar, there's a kind of perhaps awkwardness or unsymmetrical look or something like that. So maybe that's off-putting to a lot of people, I just don't know. But certainly there was something really off. Now here's the thing with the two videos that are very, very obvious to me right now, and you can probably hear the difference in the sound right now. And that is, that sound was chunky. And so on and so forth. So it's a cycle, it goes from generation to generation. The seed of thought of negativity can actually be the seed that grows negatively throughout this and every other lifetime. So this is what poor people can do. This is why cultures can have negative outcomes from negative thinking. So by thinking negatively, this is how we... The first two videos, it wasn't at all well edited. So I was just learning. I was innocent. I apologize if you watch them then and you're wondering now why the difference is, because I have figured out how to do a little bit better with sound. So I'm glad you're listening. If you're not, I'm just going to shut up. What are the other differences? How can we improve, I wonder? I really don't know the large improvements that are needed, to be quite honest with you. All I'm trying to do is communicate my message. So let's just delve into the content of video 1 and see. So today, on this bright and beautiful day, let's wonder, what are the 10 things poor people do that the rich don't do? Because if we can begin to avoid what we're doing wrong, then surely we can at least begin to start doing the right thing. So, what are they? Well, so that's a few seconds of video 1. Interesting. Do I believe still that there are differences between rich people and poor people? Yes, I do. But here's the thing. One of the main differences, and one of the main reasons actually between video 1 and video 2 and the videos I'm doing now, are because I got really bad advice. Super bad advice about somebody telling me, some so-called expert telling me to do a video just like this. And honestly, it wasn't in my comfort zone. It wasn't what I wanted to actually speak about. They told me, do this video and this will work. This will get views. Now, in fairness, 2,500 or so views wasn't bad. But then again, it was the first video. It was the first time that YouTube knew about my channel. So they didn't actually know me, and so therefore they were just judging me on the first one. So 2,500 views, hey, that's pretty good. But then there's millions of people and billions of people that could be watching this. So why aren't they watching it as well? And that's what the second video really showed. Now the second video is, well, it's all about getting up at 5:30 in the morning, the secrets of soul. And you can relate that back to the first one, because you've got all the rich people that are successful, or so-called successful people, and they get up generally earlier in the morning. So surely the people that were watching the first one should have watched the second one, at least a few of them, but they didn't, because it was such a plummet in numbers. So it didn't make sense. So let's have a look at the second one and try to figure out what's going on in the content. And you're pleasing your boss and all of that, and then suddenly you want to just pop in a hobby for an hour or two in the evening, but also you'd like to see more of your friends and make more friends and so on and so forth, but you just can't crunch it all into that, and you're trying to eat healthy and you're trying to do all these great things together. There isn't enough hours in the day. However, if you get up extra early, you get a head start on all of these things. So there's slight differences between the first and the second one. Do I generally agree with the points I've made in both? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it, but it's my delivery, I can be honest in saying, that wasn't natural. One of those things that was in the first and the second that I just didn't want to do at the time, and I still don't like doing, and yet I was told to do by a so-called expert, was to read like a newsreader and present. So here I was like, in my own mind, I was like 10 habits of getting up early, and I was like left to right, and I was really bamboozled by it all, what was happening behind the camera. But the reality was I wasn't actually comfortable. It was my natural way. So now I've gone with my natural way. I don't know how many people are going to watch this. Frankly, well, if Frank is listening, whoever he is, thank you, Frank, but I don't really care. But if it helps one person, including Frank or anybody else that's related or not to Frank, I'm happy. Because that's essentially all it is. Rather than wasting your time, your editing and your power and energy, make sure to do as well as you can with your first couple of videos, because the differences between the first video and the second video, for me, there are changes and differences. But even now, a couple of years later, I'm like, I don't know. Why did I get 2,500 in the first one and 0 in the second one? This is the thing with YouTube. You just never know what you put out and how long, or who is going to watch it for how long. You don't know. Nobody knows. So it's very much pitching in the dark, not knowing what is next. All I do know is that I think I look pretty good in both videos. I had a jacket on then. That looked pretty cool. But they were both different colour jackets, and they were both different colour shirts. So maybe that has a huge bearing on things too. Also, I kind of put my arm up on the second one. I kind of left it there. I hung out. It was a little bit more chill, I have to say, in the second one. remembering back. But still, they are the main differences. So I hope you got something from the video, and make sure if you're starting your videos to do, well, as best you can the very first one, because it seems to be what starts the trend off on YouTube. So until next time, hit that button and have a wonderful day.